So but Joey Wu was driving a Qashqai.
Yeah.
First thing I did when he said that is I went, ooh. Now, nothing against the Qashqai.
I have.
Well, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. I did drive one for a review, and I remember it. I was talking about this the other day with someone. I said, yeah, I remember driving a car and leaving it at home after a day. It was the Qashqai.
Yeah.
And there's nothing the matter with it except that it just doesn't have a soul. I mean, it does the job. And I think his model, because I said Qashqai, well, I thought you wanted to be driving it because he had a Maxima before,
okay. And
he was sold. He said, you know what? He's a Maxima. That's the car. Because where he's working, he gets a rental to get there back, and so they change it out every now and then. So he's got the Qashqai now, and I kind of sent him the thing without wanting to taint, because I said, send me an interior review. And he said, yeah, it's kind of fun. It's got little gadgets. I'll send you a review later. And it comes out why he's got it is because it's got all-wheel drive.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But even at that, I'm thinking, you're not.
Yeah, but what engine's in that? They're like 1.5s or 1.6s, aren't they? I'm not sure.
You think it's even that big? It's a rental. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
It's straight. I mean, we've actually rented one here, and to me, it was just a Sunny that was misshapen on the outside.
Yeah, it's really. I found it underpowered.
It was a bit of a letdown interior for me because I mean, look, it's not my cup of tea, but the outside of it's quite unique, and it's quite modern looking and contemporary.
It's got a cool name, Qashqai.
But then you get inside and it's just a sunny interior. Yeah. It's like everything's the same, which is it works. And look, I was in a rental, so it's not the top spec one.
Yeah, it's a great price point. I mean, it comes in at a good price point. Do you see many come into the shop to get repaired?
A few. We used to have it was quite an old one. It was probably one of the early ones. Bright orange it was.
Oh, nice.
And it was one of the staff cars for one of the hotels on the Palm.
Okay.
And they were Ukrainian, and they were really, really good. I still see them from time to time. I haven't seen that car for a while, but there was never anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Suspension bushes, and I think we did subframe bushes on it once because it had a really, really bad knock.
Okay.
But yeah, we sometimes struggled with anything other than genuine parts. So it was always, and the car was getting quite old, so it was hard. I remember one time trying to put non-genuine suspension arms to save some cash for them because the car was 10 years old or whatever, and it just it was just noisy. As soon as we put it back on, it was noisy. We couldn't adjust the alignment properly, so there was obviously a slight difference. But yeah, we don't get many of them in. A lot of them, I think, are rentals.
Which that's a good sign, right? Like, so a lot of rentals possibly, but if they're not really coming in for repairs, they're pretty reliable.
I mean, it's a Nissan, right? You say what you want about them, they're reliable.
Yeah.
They are reliable.
When I look at that car, the Qashqai, I think this is the kind of car, if you were going to go out and buy someone their first car and they're just getting used to driving, this could be the car. It's fairly affordable. It could be very low spec models, not going to break the bank. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's going to last them a good 10 years.
I mean, like I say, we rented one, and this is within the last 2 years. So we had 2 baby seats in it, and
that's good.
1 freak adult, and then a normal size adult in the car. So we managed with it, and it did the job. Yeah. I mean, it's not one of those. It's funny actually. I think we've actually mentioned this a few times, and just sort of it's kind of one of those things that we accept when we're talking about cars. But Shazad, Brown Car Guy, was talking about, do you have your own price point cars?
Right.
And he was obviously, I mean, he's back in the UK market now, but he was saying, look, his £20,000 benchmark is I think he said the Fiesta ST.
Right.
His £30,000 benchmark was the Civic Type R, and then his 50k benchmark was the Mustang Bullet. And it's like, if any car's that kind of price, unless it's better than that car, he's not going to buy it, because I couldn't buy that.
Yeah.
And I always think that with a lot of cars here, and we've talked about it before, and I don't know what the price point of the Qashqai is, but Nissans are quite expensive.
They are. There's a premium on
them. And I think, I mean, I've got this internet machine here. I mean, I think that you could probably buy something Korean.
Yeah. Oh, easily you're going to get yourself a Hyundai.
That's probably, to be fair, a bit better in my opinion. Let's try and have a look on here and see what they're selling for. But I mean, I just wouldn't choose it. I think there's probably other cars in that bracket that I would go for if I was to go. And they are, I mean, they call it here on Nissan, they call it a tech urban SUV. I don't know exactly what that means. But, you know, I mean, what do you need a sport utility vehicle in the urban environment for? It's not quite big enough to be super practical. And I know you're saying that, you know, Joey's is a all-wheel drive, but I'm not sure what engines they come with. I don't know what power they've got.
He's going to tell us, you know, being the mechanic, he's opened up the thing and he's taking a look around. But, you know, it's a weird kind of car. And I got to say, when I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I'll give the example. When we used to travel a couple of years ago, we haven't been down to California in several years now, at least 3. And I loved the rental car system at LAX because we would, you know, be with whatever rental company and they're all there, and you take the bus and you go to the car parks where they are, and they'll say, okay, well, you've rented a medium-sized car, here you go, go to aisle 6, and anything in aisle 6 is yours. And so all of, you know, they might have 3 different car manufacturers there, and that's what we used to do because we would go with the boys. So I'd rock up with 2 trolleys worth of stuff, and it didn't matter what car I wanted. We'd open up the boot space, we'd open up the hatchback and see which one could we get all our luggage in. And that was the car we went with.
Which is kind of important, right?
Right. And the Qashqai was never the car.
No.
I can tell you that it was never the car. And I often looked, I said, oh, that'd really be nice to drive that, but we're not getting all the luggage into it. So we're going with the GM product, or Toyota often worked. Toyota was good. And so we, you know, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the Qashqai isn't sold in the UAE anymore. Gone down to the Kicks, but the only
I've never been in a Kicks. Is that below the Qashqai?
Yeah, tiny, really small thing. But I mean, it's not. I don't think anyone will buy it thinking it's going to be the greatest car in the world. It's
entry level. You're
but
getting
it does look. I understand. I get it. Like it does look. If you like the look of it, there's not many other things like it.
Yeah.
It's so, you know, if you're buying a car, and it's all subjective, but you know, it's quite a decent looking car. It's just one of those sort of. Not something that does it for me. And I think at the price point, I would probably find something that I would prefer.
You know, it's interesting. I'd love to hear from the rental car company what are the issues they find with it, and when people can trade things in or bring it back. But, and that's something to think about. Hey, I got another car, and I wonder if you've seen these around. The 2021 Genesis GV80, and I saw one of these. This is an SUV-ish thing.
Okay.
And I saw one of these the other day, and I truly did not know what it was. And it had the look from the back. So I saw the back and the side. I didn't see the front. Well, I saw the front after. But I see the back and the side. And a nice sound, nice lines. It kind of had a Mercedes look to it.
Okay.
It kind of had, and so, you know, it had the Beamer kind of X5 look to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of had the Lincoln, which one is it, the Lincoln? It's the Lincoln, one of the Lincolns. So it had that Lincoln look to it as well from the side.
That's definitely what it looks like to me as well.
And especially the front. And I'm looking at this thing, and I just now called it up, and this is the tagline that comes up. They call it, the GV80 is 16 feet of pure athletic elegance.
I got described as that by my PE teacher once. 16
feet. It's huge. But I'm looking at this thing as it's going, and you know what catches my eyes is the lighting on the back, and I'm going, oh, that's really cool looking.
Yeah.
It looked heavy. It did look elegant, and I'm looking Genesis. I'm going Genesis. Like, really? This is a Genesis? I mean, I thought it was brilliant looking, and it was a sort of an off-white color, fully tinted out windows. It looked every part luxury.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the G80s. I've never seen a GV in the flesh, but I've seen the G80s, and you know, they used to have. I don't know if they still do. They have the big 5-litre V8 in it, and they're sort of the big limousine kind of car, right up there with the premium Mercedes, Audis, and BMWs.
So
it's a Hyundai used to make a Genesis,
Yeah.
and then they just turned it into a sort of their premium
it's
brand.
a brand. Yeah.
And for the money, I'm guessing.
I don't know.
I know for a fact that the tech on it's going to be great.
Oh man,
The finish on it will be great.
the front. When I compared it to a Lincoln, so it's not a Lincoln, obviously, but the sides, the front reminds me of the Aviator. When you look at the grille of a Lincoln Aviator, now it's a little bit. I suspect it's a little bit smaller than the Aviator, but. First one I'd seen as well. I mean, it's one of those vehicles that it's there in the traffic light crush,
Yeah.
and you've got everything in that traffic light crush. I mean, there was every SUV you could ever want. That was the one that caught my attention for no reason other than the body lines of it, and it wasn't going fast, but it clearly looked like it could. It just was really nice rolling stock.
Yeah. I mean, they do, and they have now for a while, having made some of the worst looking cars that have ever graced the industry in the sort of late 90s and early 2000s. Hyundai and Kia have really turned it around, and Genesis now is its own brand. We were coming back from, I think we'd been to get tested. I think we'd been to get a PCR test, and we were walking down the street, and there was a white N-line Hyundai Sonata at the side of the road, and it was like I stopped to look at it to see what it was because I'd not seen one before, and the tail lights were all like in one strip and formed the spoiler on the back, and it was a really nice looking car. It was white with really nice wheels on it, and you just think, well, that's up there. I mean, you mentioned the Maxima before. I mean, I'm sure this thing doesn't come with a 3.5 litre V6 that you get in the Nissan, which makes a massive difference to that car, because otherwise it's just a normal sedan.
No, it does suggest, I'm just looking up on the GV80,
Yeah.
it does suggest that it comes with a V6.
Yeah, well, the GV obviously is a bigger car, would come with a bigger engine. I'm just thinking about this Sonata that I saw, it probably doesn't come with. It would be a smaller sort of turbocharged one. I mean, the Maxima with
Gotta
that
be the
3.5,
3.5 litre,
there's no point taking it, otherwise it's just a
It's a Sonata.
just a taxi, right?
Or it's an Ultima, right? But no, that's kind of cool when you start seeing some of those. Again, we're running into vehicles and you just see them on the side of the road. And you kind of go, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And it's lighting. It's a little bit of the folds that they've done in the press system for the body panels. And I mean, all that stuff's so easy to do. You got your dies, you got your presses.
Yeah, I mean the big thing for the time, how many cars now have that whole Porsche thing going on with the lights across the back?
They all look like
and the
Porsche
old sort of the old Audis from the 80s that just have the lights all across the back.
Yeah, they all look
all
like
the
that
cars look like the same.
They're
now.
all the same. I don't,
Kia did it with the Sportage, the current version when that first came out, and it was like
I thought it was a Porsche.
yeah, they're all they all do it and they look cool and look. If you're making them out of plastic, which most of them are, well, you put them in any shape very, very cheaply.
Yeah.
It's not the same as having to shape metal.
No.
The only thing is, don't break them because you're going to get your car written off because you damaged the tail light.
Yeah.